Welcome to the Weekly Mag. Today we celebrate cinema. Isaki Lacuesta, the youngest winner of 2 Golden Shell Awards ever at Donostia Film Festival, tells us about his latest projects. We discover Albert Serra's newest and awarded film, Liberté, and have a chat with the director. And stay tuned for Guess What? Our quizmaster and MC Sergi Cervera will quiz us about the funniest topic in the world, parties! And many more things. This is The Weekly Mag, your TV show in English, hosted by Marcela Topor.
Hello, let's start a show as always full of content, from interviews and reports to comedy and tips. You should find something you like. We begin with curious things of words and facts, and our collaborators Mario Serra, Ana Priscila Magrinha and Umberto Gonzalez. Welcome all.
Welcome.
What happened? What happened to you?
This is sort of an introduction to what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh my God.
From my part, so we thought we'd surprise you.
You surely surprised me. Yeah. Okay.
Me too.
Do you feel better after trying it out? You feel refreshed?
I feel refreshed. We'll be talking about this on the show later on.
Now I'm really intrigued, but anyway, the idea is to ask Marius, to start with Marius, who is a true master of words. And I don't know if you're going to surprise us today with another interesting story related to words.
Yeah, I'll try to do that. But first of all, we have to pronounce the word exactly, because we are going to talk about charades, which I assume in American English maybe you pronounce differently.
Definitely. I mean, charades to me sounds very strange, but you know, those English people can always come up with something that I've never heard of. So we say charades.
Charades.
You probably said charade before you said charades.
Probably.
I have to say.
Probably. You are right. You are right. But you know, we perfected it.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, Marius, what is a charade or a charade?
It can be two different things, because it's a parlor game, like a mimic game. For instance, hiding the title of a film and making your gestures and people trying to guess which is the title. But we are going to talk about literary charades or charades, which are like a little enigma by verse, hiding each syllable of the answer. For instance, my first syllable is to forbid, honey. My second has got a crown, and all I do is managing money. I'm not going to ask you to solve it, but the answer, my friends, is not blowing in the wind, but the answer is banking. Banking, because when you forbid, you ban something. When you have a crown, you are a king. And when you make money, managing money is banking, to bank, right? This is a charade.
How interesting. So originally it rhymed. It was sort of like a poem, and you were supposed to guess what that was. Yeah, we have never done it that way.
Well, that's a literary tradition. Wow. And you are always talking about my first, my second, my whole, meaning my first syllable, my second syllable. We'll see some examples, and maybe we'll play a little about that.
Well, anyway, if there's something you're expert in, Marius, that's puzzles, riddles, and enigmas. So I hope you don't make it too difficult for us today.
No. And afterwards, we'll have our regular guess word, and it will be, I think, it will be affordable for you.
Oh gosh.
Okay, we'll manage, I hope. And let's go to Umberto. I'm really curious where you went last time and what happens with these cucumbers.
Okay, so I actually decided to look into Cardadeo because they have this pharmacy museum based on an old pharmacy from the 1600s that they did a lot of remedies, and even had a backyard with plants, and very, very popular in the town. Nice. Not only in the town, but throughout all of Catalonia. And they also had cacaolat, the cacaolat guy who invented cacaolat. He actually had a secondary home in Cardadeo, and the home is beautiful. And Cardadeo is also known for the cemetery. It's also known for its cemetery. So basically, my whole idea of Cardadeo was remedies, because you had this great pharmacy dealing with herbs. You had the cacao lat, which chocolate is also was used as a medicinal way, and then you have the cemetery, of course. But
And if it doesn't work, the pharmacy, you go to the cemetery. Okay.
That's very
You have
handy.
it all in there.
Very handy, right? Anyway, can we have a glimpse of
Yes.
Cardadeo and natural remedies?
let's take a look, and you will see why we actually wore the cucumbers
Oh.
to
Okay.
surprise you this morning.
All right.
Another old medicinal way, and we're going to see the difference. If one eye is better than the other one.
I prefer not to try this treatment.
Right eye, and then keep it on there. Do not try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa, whoa. Let's look at each other's eyes, and your eyes still look the same.
Well,
Okay.
Umberto, I'm always surprised how you make these people do whatever you want with them. I don't know how you convince them.
I don't think it's me. I think it's the Catalans. I think
You pay them.
He convinced me anyway
but I couldn't convince her.
Yeah, I'm
because
sorry.
of
Okay.
cucumber.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so we've got funny things to see and do today, but let's see what facts Ana Priscilla will surprise us with. She's back to challenging the truths we've been taking for granted for a long time. So today, Ana Priscilla, we are going to destroy another myth, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm the worrying person of the four of us in here. Since we're speaking about healthy stuff today, I would like to ask you if you're if you really like spinach. You eat
Spinach?
Yeah? Do you eat spinach a lot?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, people. Yeah? You-
I am honest, yeah, I like
Yeah.
it very much. Actually, I like all vegetables and greens.
With pine fruits.
Pine nuts.
Pine nuts, that's it.
Yeah, and with
pine
bacon.
nuts.
And that's perfect.
Bacon as well. Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
I really like it
Yeah.
too. You're a fan of
I've always
spinach?
loved it.
Yeah?
Always loved it, but I can't eat it anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you why later.
Okay, okay. I want to talk about spinach because, you know, like, I don't know if you have children and it's difficult for you to make them eat vegetables or spinach. My parents always used to say, don't you want to be as strong as Popeye?
Oh, yeah.
You have to eat spinach. I don't know if you have ever used this
It's
with
true.
your kids. No?
Not much, but no, it's usual to talk about Popeye as a great spinach
Eater. Yeah. I have to tell you, they have been lying to us.
No, not again.
I'm sorry, because they would tell us,
Really?
you have to eat spinach because they are, it is full of iron, spinach.
Yeah.
That's what they have always told us. It's not true.
What?
I'm sorry, guys.
It's not true.
It's not true.
It doesn't have iron?
It does have iron, but it doesn't have as much iron as we
you
thought.
think.
What happened with this? I have to tell you, in 1870, now I'm going to pretend
Wow.
I'm a very intelligent person. In 1870, there was a German chemist, Erich von Wolff. He studied spinach and he studied how much iron it had. And he misplaced a decimal point when transcribing data from his notebook. So, there are actually only 3.5 milligrams of iron in a 100-gram serving of spinach, but he said there were 35 milligrams in a serving of spinach.
Okay.
3.5
So
to
it-
35?
Yeah,
A
it
little
would-
mistake.
a little mistake, but it would be like eating a paper clip when you would try to eat spinach. That mistake became really huge. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, spinach is amazing. You know how much iron is like eating red meat.
Yeah.
You eat spinach, is like eating red meat. And they said that Popeye, the inventor, the cartoonist of Popeye, Elsie Chrysler Seeger, he was inspired by this, and he made his cartoon Eat Spinach because it had a lot of iron. That's also not true.
No? Again?
I'm sorry, Popeye doesn't eat spinach because of its iron, but because of its vitamin A. He said it. I have it in here. The first time he said he eats spinach, it's in July 3rd, 1932, and he's eating spinach straight from the grass, from the floor. I'm sorry. And Olive Oil says, "Good heavens, are you a horse?" And Popeye answers, Spinach is full of vitamin A, and that's what it makes humans strong and healthy. Did you like my impression of Popeye?
Yeah, no,
That's a
it's
funny
good.
one. So it's a funny one.
You talking like Popeye. What about Olivia?
Olive oil is
Olive oil.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's olive oil in English. And Popeye is a relief. I don't know if it happened to you, not to you, but in Catalan or Spanish, we say Popeye.
Yeah.
And it wasn't after a long time that I understood Popeye. It took me a while.
So it's Popeye because his eyes pop out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, you.
No,
you
I never made
mistakes.
I never made that connection because you grow up with Popeye and you never think of anything about his eyes popping out.
Then you got it.
You guys are a wealth of information here. But
So I'm sorry, guys. Spinach, vitamin A, not that much iron.
I'll eat spinach again. Okay.
yeah,
Today we're talking about health, and Umberto has been to Cardedeu and brought us his share of information about it. But before, let's have a look at this short language tip.
Happy, another one of those overused words in English. As advanced speakers of English, we should try to vary our vocabulary a little bit more. So, instead of happy, why don't we try glad or pleased? For example, oh, I'm so glad to see you. I'm pleased you came to my party. But sometimes, even glad or pleased can be a little bit too soft. If you're very, very, very happy, why not try delighted? Oh, I'm so delighted to see you. It's been a long time. So there you go. Glad, pleased, delighted. Give them a go.
If you are into cinema, you are going to like today's interview with the director of Entre Dos Aguas. In a few minutes, Isaki Lacuesta on the Weekly Mag.
So, okay, Umberto, you can't eat spinach anymore, but you do like home remedies. Why is that?
I do. I love them because they're so exciting. I mean, there's
Home
so
remedies, exactly.
Yes.
Well, why not?
I may should have been a scientist at one time because I love, putting things together and seeing what works and what doesn't work. But a pill is so boring. You just take the pill and it's nothing. I mean, with the home remedy, you have to pick up the plants. You have to see what's working, what's not. There's a lot of excitement, I think, to it.
So this is what you investigated in Cardedeu?
Well, what I wanted to really investigate was to see if I could get any different information from the Catalans or anybody else comparable to what we have as remedies in the United States. And basically what I found is that the remedies are very familiar and similar, not only in the United States, but here in Europe as well. And most of them came up with basically the same remedies that we had, even Viva Porrub.
Oh,
Viva Porrub.
Yes.
Viva Porrub. Exactly.
I love it.
They even came up with that. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that we called it differently, but yeah, Viva Porrub. I just learned that.
Okay. So I'm really curious to see what happened in Cardedeu and who you talked to, how they reacted to your outfit as well.
Oh, my outfit was a hit. Everybody was actually thinking that I was either a real doctor or a vet. And wait, this is what I did. This is a real shirt. I went up dressed as Walmart boy because in Walmart, you know Walmart, right?
yeah, of course.
So you have these beige pants right here.
Okay.
Double
And then you have a blue shirt. So then what I did was I just put on these pants that I had because my father's a doctor, so I got them from somewhere back
So
there.
you stole the pants from your father,
Well,
pretending you were a doctor.
Before I moved to Europe, yes. So then I just
Okay.
did this bit, like this, and I opened up my shirt just a little bit to show some cleavage. And then I went around like
Dr.
this.
Umberto.
And I became Dr. Umberto, and it was a hit.
Nice.
I was able to touch people.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was actually.
Don't
they
say
let me
that
go.
on TV. Police is gonna come and arrest you.
Anyway, let's have a look. Let's see what happened.
Today I am Dr. Umberto. We are about to ask people today what kind of remedies they've used in their lives and if they like their doctors or not. You think I'm a doctor?
Or a vet.
Can I feel you?
But here and
I'm looking at your boogers.
okay.
Is your doctor sexy?
No, I think she's an old woman.
What about if there's a cute doctor?
There's a cute doctor. Yeah, maybe I would go if there was a cute doctor.
I am about to take some of these remedy plants. Maybe I will make a potion to make that other little guy and that woman fall in love with me, ladies and gentlemen. Is there anything strange that people come in here asking for?
It's a medicine that it's named Speedy Fin.
What do they say?
Spiderman.
Instead of Helocatil, they say Colocatil.
Needles do not scare you.
Well, a little.
Are you ready, Julia?
Oh my God, I don't like needles. I told you. I like looking at them.
Yeah.
It's really big. Yeah, but it's thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Have you heard of putting cucumbers on your eyes to get rid of the puffiness? Right eye, and then keep it on there, keep it on there. We're gonna try to find out if one eye is better than the other one, okay? And we're gonna see the difference. Have you heard of another old medicinal way? Peeing was used as a medicinal remedy back in the old days.
For the infections?
Yes.
No, thank you.
To whiten your teeth.
Oh, I didn't know it, but I think it's better Listerine than using the pee.
Totally agree. Never would have happened at San Pao Hospital.
Maybe in clinic.
Do not try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. This is only what we've read.
Pee in your hands for the panayons.
I don't feel so comfortable with pee.
Okay, let's try this for a second. Take a look and see.
This one?
Ooh,
This one? Do you see the difference?
your eyes still look the same. But we've used these on 3 or 4 other people. Let's take a look at your eyes. Which one did you put it on? That one?
That one, the left
Yeah.
one.
What about mine?
If it works or not.
One more for my remedy. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to make myself my own potion, and I am going to make a remedy for maybe all these people I interview to fall in love with me. I may need a lover. Okay, I have to tell you something about that last part.
Okay.
There actually is a remedy, and my parents are in the audience, so they may not like me saying this, but my aunt, my mother's sister, used to have this remedy for people falling in love.
Oh.
So that part at the end was a little bit real in a way, because you actually put the names, right? You put the names of the person in a piece of paper. You put it in a jar. You fill it up with water and sugar. You stir up the sugar, and then you put it in the freezer. And then that sweetens their love in the freezer. And then they probably will get together. That is actually a remedy that I heard.
But after the freezer, you take it out and you have to drink it?
No,
or,
you
and
leave
then
it in there. No,
you die or
you
not?
leave it in there until they get together. Once they get together, then you take it out. Don't you know nothing?
No, apparently no.
You know nothing, Priscilla.
That's why you have me
okay.
here.
Well, actually, I must confess, me neither, because this is the first time I hear this about this remedy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll
We
try
have-
it out.
We have one for breaking up too, but
I don't
breaking
need
up
that
somebody,
one right
we'll
now.
tell you later. But I did find, I had an Anna Priscilla flashback.
Whoa.
Yeah, so while I was actually researching some of these remedies, I actually found one that I thought, this is really Anna Priscilla. She should be doing this. And it was about urine. And I didn't know, because who would think that urine would actually have any effect whatsoever?
Why did you think about me when you thought of urine?
Because you always shock us with all these things.
Come
I mean,
on.
Disney being frozen, not frozen, I don't know.
I thought about Disney.
Exactly.
And putting love in the freezer.
So I thought,
urine?
I found out that urine, I can see Anna Priscilla saying, you would never believe this, what urine is used for, blah, blah. And then, we would guess, and we would never guess this. But urine was actually used
used as an antibiotic by the Egyptians, the Chinese, the Romans. Back in ancient civilization, you had to drink it as an antibiotic.
Really?
And then,
Right.
yes. See, aren't you shocked? Isn't this
Okay.
Anna Priscilla?
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, I
Absolutely.
expect Anna Priscilla will destroy this argument next time.
Next time.
But, I'm
Next
actually
time.
quite
So,
curious. What is
Okay.
this plant doing here?
Okay, so we have brought other...
A bit like briefly, if it's
Yeah,
possible.
no.
Yeah.
So we have brought some other things from the garden, and one of them is onion, the other
Yeah.
one is garlic, and then we
Garlic.
have aloe vera. The onion and the garlic, who are actually cousins, by the way. I'm going to have to read these. I cannot memorize these because I am 37 years old now. And so the onion helps with consciousness and with, remembering things and so on. And also, if you have some sort of attack, somebody hits you on the head, it can help you regain your consciousness. It helps with arthritis, headache, earaches, and stomach pain. While the garlic actually lowers down your blood pressure, lowers your cholesterol, helps prevent Alzheimer's, improves athletic performance, and actually was
Oh, I
used.
need it for that, yeah.
Yeah, I think we all do. Probably. I do too.
I think so.
It actually was used. It's used by the athletes at the Olympics to increase their performance. Did you guys know that?
No.
See,
Not
I got
really,
one on
no.
you now. Okay.
I'm sure nobody wants to kiss them after they
I'm
run.
sure they probably run away faster from them. And it takes out heavy metals in your body. Whereas the aloe vera, actually, here, it actually helps cholesterol also, lower cholesterol. It helps you lose weight, and it helps with diabetes as well. And not only that.
don't do that.
Oh, yeah.
Are you breaking it?
Of course. Listen, I have
But
to
he
tell you
will
something.
show us how it's used.
I have to tell you something. That plant, that second plant on that video, I wasn't supposed to take a twig out of that one, but I didn't know. So hopefully they will not come after us on that one. But this one, it actually, besides doing all that, if you have a cut, I'm sure you've heard of this.
Yeah.
It helps. It's like vitamin E, so it actually helps with the scar tissue and so on. And it actually is also going to help you with your wrinkles and things like that. So if you want to actually, I have
That's
a
your
few right
secret.
here.
Nice one.
Yeah, and you actually, I will look afterwards and see what happens. And you'll see it hardens up, and it actually makes you look younger.
Maybe we won't recognize you after that. Anyway, very interesting and very helpful at the same time, Umberto. But now it's time for Mario Serra with charades or charades.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, both of them. Why not? This book is very special today. It's Language on Vacation by Dmitry Borkman. It's an old book from the 64. I am older. I am from 1963, but the book is 1 year younger than me. And it contains, for instance, the first charade in English. A charade or charade comes from Occitan, from charrado, which means speak like in Catalan, charrar. And the first English charade dates from 1711, right? I'm gonna read it. It was in a magazine called Delights of the Ingenious. I'm gonna read it, and afterwards I'm gonna solve it very briefly because it's really difficult.
I'm not even gonna try
The
that.
little poem says, the first charade, from the mate of the cock, winter corn in the ground, the Christian name of my friend may be found. Join the song of a cat to the place hermits dwell in, gives the surname of him who does music excelling. It's very difficult, but the mate of the cock is a hen, right?
Yeah.
The winter corn can be called wheat or rye. If you hen plus rye is
Yes.
Henry. This is for the
okay.
name
Of
Henry.
course.
Okay.
Of
Then
course.
the complete Christian name is Henry, and then the song of a cat is purr, cat purring.
Okay.
The
Yes.
place of a hermit dwells in is called cell, like the cellular is in a cell.
Yeah.
So you've got Henry Purcell.
Henry
It was a
Purcell.
very musician of the 18th
Wow.
century, right?
Impressive.
That was really difficult.
Yeah.
We've got two easier charades,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna.
No, I don't like when you say easy, because then
Yeah.
if we don't know the answer, we look like fools.
Because
don't
you
trust
will
you
know.
anymore.
I'll give you the answer,
Okay.
and you will have to tell me why.
Okay.
Why is it?
Okay.
Okay.
The first one. My first, look at it, they are talking about syllables. My first, I hope you are. My second, I see you are. And my whole, I tell you are. The answer is welcome. Why?
I hope you are well.
That's good.
I see
You
your
came. You came.
came,
So
right.
if you come, you are here, I see.
right.
And the whole is my whole, I tell you are. You
Okay.
are.
Welcome.
Welcome.
That's nice. It's
Yeah.
Nice.
not
Okay.
difficult on
Not
the
too
front of your
difficult.
door,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Okay.
Second one, my first is a tartar. My second, a letter, just a letter. My all is a country, no Christmas dish better. The answer is Turkey.
Is
Turkey.
Turkey.
Why?
No Christmas is better, but they don't have Christmas. Did you say
Well,
Christmas?
roast turkey, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
For
Th- this is a usual Christmas dish.
Aquí.
Roast
One
turkey.
letter. Key.
Oh, it's like homophone, but
Okay.
my first is a tartar,
I don't know this one.
Turk.
Ah, okay.
Tartar, Tartarian
right, tartar.
country. My second is a letter,
Key.
E.
The
E. Oh, all
Okay.
key, but you have to the plus of the E,
Okay, it
and my
became-
whole is a country, which is Turkey.
I think.
Oh my God.
I think welcome. I think welcome was a bit easier.
Yeah,
Did they have
absolutely,
Pictionary?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Did they have Pictionary back then?
A Pictionary, like it's
Because that
the
would have been
same.
easier.
Well, we don't have more time for charades or charades. Oh, yes, I know. But we're not quite done with enigmas yet. So it's time to reveal the solution to last week's guess word. Marius?
Yeah, last week it was just a 7-letter word, and it wasn't with syllables nor charades. It was the best car to change religion. The answer was a convert. It's a
Good one.
convertible, like a convert.
Good one.
If you convert, right?
that's a good
This
one.
is a double sense, not a
Yes.
charade, but okay. And then this week's one, it's
Okay.
more difficult if you don't know how to play tennis.
Right.
Okay.
An order given by a tennis player to his chauffeur. 5 letters. An order given by a tennis player to his chauffeur. 5 letters.
An order given by a tennis player to his chauffeur, 5 letters. Well, if you solve our guess word, you can be the first to post the answer on social networks. Marius, thank you again. It's
Okay.
been, as always, very interesting.
you.
And Priscilla and Umberto, I say the same. Until
It's
next
working.
time.
I'm going
working.
home to start
He's
freezing
more handsome
water
already.
with the
Yeah.
sugar.
So home remedies and spinach, that has been very helpful, and and we learned a lot today. We'll take a short break now, and we'll be right back with the accomplished and awarded Catalan cinema director Isaki Lacuesta. So stay tuned. Well, next on our show, we'll have with us an outstanding cinema director. We can just mention that he's youngest filmmaker with 2 golden shells at San Sebastian International Film Festival. So stay with us for an interesting chat right after our glossary.
Isaki Lacuesta is one of the most awarded Catalan directors, although his films aren't considered mainstream. People, activities or ideas that are part of the mainstream are regarded as the most typical and conventional because they belong to the prevailing trend. We will talk a lot about censorship in the interview because that's what Isaki Lacuesta's latest work is about. Censorship is the act of cutting out parts of books, plays or films, especially by government officials, because they are considered immoral or undesirable in some way. In Catalonia, along with the cinema, there's a huge dubbing industry. Dubbing is the process of replacing the soundtrack of a movie in one language by one in another language. And one last word related to cinema, mockumentary, which is a satirical work, such as a film, television or radio program presented in the style of a documentary.
This multi-awarded film director and writer from Girona has directed 9 feature films, some art installations and even performances. His last film, Between Two Waters, got him special recognition with the Golden Shell at San Sebastian International Film Festival. And now he's back with his latest creation, Jo soc allò prohibit, I am the forbidden, which can be visited at Art Santa Monica in Barcelona. Isaki Lacuesta, welcome, and thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Well, Isaki, you're not exactly a mainstream filmmaker.
No, I don't pretend that.
How important are awards for independent filmmakers such as yourself?
Well, awards are important because they give you the publicity that you don't have through other media. I mean, for this kind of artistic films, nor mainstream, it's difficult to have the strong publicity and the strong commercial power that the Marvel films have, for example. So well, it's a good way to appear in newspapers, in TV, and to let people discover that the film exists.
Of course. Which award made you most happiest, I mean? Of all the awards you received, which one was the one that you said, wow, I'm really thrilled to receive this award?
I don't know. I think that the only time that I've cried with a prize was a very little one, but I was with the main actor in Entre Dos Aguas. We were together, so it was very touching. But maybe also the first Golden Shell.
Okay. How do you feel about the fact that the Centre Pompidou in Paris, they showed a complete retrospective of your work? So this kind of international success, how does it feel to receive that?
That was important for me because I used to spend a lot of time in Pompidou when I was a teenager and when I was young.
As a visitor, right?
As a visitor, yeah. I discovered there some artists who are references for me. So it was very nice to be there and to show my works to the French audience. It was very beautiful. Mm-hmm. And they commanded me to produce an installation and a film. Yeah. And it was a nice chance to let me work in another kind of cinematical way.
Of course.
I mean, it was like a multi-projection, and I could work with a space, not only with a narrative film.
Entre Dos Aguas, Between Two Waters, it features characters that appeared in the previous film, right? La Leyenda del Tiempo. Is it necessary to see La Leyenda del Tiempo in order to understand Entre Dos Aguas?
No, not really. These are two films that can be watched separated.
Separately, yeah.
But, well, they belong to the same family. I mean, in the first film, La Leyenda del Tiempo, we shot that between 2004 and 2006, and we wanted to capture the time. I mean, I wanted to capture how two children became teenagers and how they changed their voices, how they changed their bodies, and to show that in a natural way. I mean, without makeup, without 3D visual effects. It was something we just needed to wait and to live with them and to shoot.
And you waited for 12 years, right?
In this case, yes. And 12 years later, we realized that we have already adult troubles. We have a lot of children, and it was the moment to continue with this story.
Are we going to see a third film? Are you going to make a trilogy in this case?
I don't know. I can't think about it. For me, it's impossible to think about it now.
Mm-hmm. Maybe with a happy ending?
Maybe Irra and Cheito, the main characters of the film, they can do it without me.
Probably now they've got the experience, right?
They really have it.
You mentioned time before. Time is really important for you, and I know that you once said that it's Truffaut who taught you that cinema can be used to capture time.
Yeah, that's something very, very obvious in the films by Truffaut. I mean, he did a trilogy about Jean-Pierre Léaud, the actor, who played a character that was called Antoine Douanel. And you can see this character, Antoine Douanel, growing up and changing. And it's something very beautiful, because it was something that it was not possible to see before cinema or before the invention of photography. It's something absolutely new. Now in the 20th century and now in the 21, we can see pictures of our family, our granddaughter, our grandfather. We can see our selfies when we were children. It's something really, really new that changes our perspective of time.
Jean-Pierre Léaud and death, exactly. Jean-Pierre Léaud, who played the main role in Albert Serra's film, the death of Louis XIV, right?
Yeah, that's crazy, because 1 year before Albert, or 2 years before Albert did the film, I wanted to make a film with Jean-Pierre Léaud. I even met him. I wanted to shoot the death of Antonin Artaud, the French poet.
Actually, today we'll talk to Albert Serra as well, and it was a good coincidence, because he's from Banyoles, right? And you also spent some time in Banyoles.
Yeah, I grew up till 12 years old. Yeah. We met with Albert in the primary school.
Primary school, or even before kindergarten?
Even before, in the kindergarten, yeah. We were like 3 years old, I think.
That's good.
It's crazy.
And you both became very popular filmmakers, so there must be something about Banyoles, right?
Banyoles is a very special space, yeah. There are a lot of musicians, theater people, a lot of punk music. There is a kind of crazy energy.
You need to make a film about Banyoles.
I'm working on that, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This is your next project, or one of your next projects?
The second one, or third, I don't know. But yeah, I have the idea of making a film, a feature film there in the next 5 years, yeah.
Okay. Your new project, a project that is on at Santa Monica in Barcelona, and which can be visited until January 2020, well, next year. It's called Jo soc allò prohibit, I am the forbidden. So tell us, what is it about? I know it's a very interesting and original project.
Yeah, I am the forbidden, in Spanish, Yo soy lo prohibido. It's a Mexican song. In Spain became popular because of Bambino, a rumba singer. And it's an exhibition about all the materials that have been forbidden in democracy. I mean, from 1977 till today. And I have made a selection of 100 cases in which there are some films, songs, theater pieces, tweets.
Tweets, yes, that's the latest thing, right?
And it's an exhibition about censorship and prohibitions.
You worked in many projects with your partner, Isa. Has she helped you in this case, or not?
Less. She worked a little bit in production, but in this case she's not involved as she used to be in the films, where sometimes we have co-directed or co-written the scripts.
It's funny because probably not too many people know that your name is Iñaki, right? Not
Isaki,
that's true. And that's thanks to Isa.
Yeah. My name is a mixture of Isa and Iñaki, yeah. It was easier than making me a tattoo, and cheaper.
And cheaper, yes.
And now she's working in her own film.
Okay.
She's also writing a script for directing a film.
Well, Isaki, we'll continue the conversation later. Either for education, information, or artistic expression, audiovisual works are playing and will play an important role in our society. In a moment, our collaborator and expert in cinema, Tony Garcia, will join us. But first, let's hear today's first bit of stand-up comedy with the giggles.
I love rap, but it's changed quite a bit. Back in the 90s, everyone had such cool names. Everyone was big. It's like Big Papa, Big Pun, Big L, Big Daddy Kane. Now, Lil Wayne, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Yachty, Lil Baby. Is it just me, or are rappers shrinking? what's next? Tiny T-Pain? Microscopic Macklemore? Nanoparticle Nas? I'm not a Kanye West fan, but if he ran for president, at least he could make rappers big again.
Watch Luke Magiński's comedy bits and the rest of the giggles on our website. And now let's welcome Tony Garcia, our cinema expert. As the exhibition we talked about, Isaki's exhibition, is about censorship, we've asked Tony to come with some historical examples of censorship in cinema. Tony, welcome.
Hey, how are you? Last time I saw Isaki, we were in South Korea drinking. So it's good to see you again.
You were drunk.
We were a little bit drunk,
nice.
just a little bit. So yes, I came up with some examples for, I think the first one is probably one of the biggest mistakes ever in censorship, and it's stupidity at its best. I love it. And it's Mogambo. Mogambo is the story of a woman who goes to Africa and falls in love with a man, which is not his husband, and the husband is also with her. So censorship in Spain, they decided to, instead of adultery, show us incest. So through the dubbing of the movie, these two people became brothers.
Like Clark Gable
and Grace Kelly.
And Grace Kelly.
So instead of having an affair, they were like brothers having an affair, which I think is much worse than the first option.
I didn't know that.
It's one of my favorites.
Crazy idea.
Yeah.
So I made a film about Eva Gardner called All Night Long, and during the making of the film, I discovered another case of censorship with the film The Barefoot Contest. And it's also a case of adultery. And at the end of the Barefoot Contest, spoiler, the husband kills Eva Gardner, and you can hear 3 shots. In the Spanish version, you can hear 1 shot. Suicide, maybe?
Very subtle. The second one is Casablanca. This is more, specific. I think it's very well done. It's censorship anyway, but this is more subtle. And it's at some point in the movie, Humphrey Bogart is talking to another of the characters, and he's explaining that he fought with the Republicans in the Spanish Civil War. But when the movie arrived to Spain, the censorship decided to just erase that. So he said another thing. Instead of, saying that the character of Humphrey Bogart was fighting with the Republicans at some point. So, do you think
he says, "I love Franco"? What?
And you see another hand. So, you think, Isaki, censorship is effective?
It's effective, but for other reasons. I mean, for instance, it was the Frankist censorship was effective to develop this fucking shit of English that I speak. Because of censorship in Spain, we couldn't watch films in English.
Yes.
I mean, in Portugal, the option was just the opposite. The opposite. They decided to put subtitles in the films because people couldn't read at that time.
It's the same in Germany and Italy and even in France. You can only see the movies, not in the original language, but the dubbing.
Yeah, I think this is a good point, Iñaki. We always talk about this every time you come to every time I see, we talk about the importance of watching original versions.
That's the half of the play of an actor.
Exactly.
His voice.
Yes.
Yeah. At least it's half of the play.
So I have another example.
Really?
This one is actual, it's happening right now as we speak, and it's an unsolved problem. It's the release of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the last Tarantino's movie in China. Because I don't know if you've seen the movie, but there's the movie with Bruce Lee, and they make some jokes about Bruce Lee character, and I think it's probably the funniest scene in the movie with Bruce Lee and the character of Brad Pitt. So the daughter of Bruce Lee saw the movie, she was very offended, and she called Chinese government and asked them, to just forbid the release of the movie because, they were making fun of, like a symbol of China, like Bruce Lee. And the Chinese government canceled the release of the movie. So now Quentin Tarantino is working in a new cut without this scene. So I think this is one of the, because obviously China is like the second market for the US in the world. It's like 30 or 40% the budget of the movie, you can recover it in China. So they have to do it. But I think it's, you know, it's censorship at its best. Again,
it's very funny.
It's very funny, and they make fun of Bruce Lee. You cannot release this.
Well, it's like Spielberg remaking E.T. and
Exactly.
erasing all the cigarettes and erasing all the guns.
And changing the guns for walkie-talkies.
Lovely.
Yeah, exactly. Lovely.
Very lovely.
And we've got more examples of censorship in films.
We've got another one. I think there's you know, in this subject, Marvel. You know, Marvel is a part of Disney, and they do a lot of superhero movies. There was this director talking about how they do the censorship even before the movies arrive to the theater. So when they are writing the script, they are very careful what they put in there, you know. And he was playing this example. It was Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange. He said in the original comic books, the guy who mentorship Doctor Strange is a Tibetan, you know, monk. Mm-hmm. But because the situation of the Tibet is kind of delicate in China, they decided to change the character and put a Celtic woman instead. You know, that's very strange.
It's absurd.
Like the Doctor itself, but they do it. And finally, my favorite one is also with China. It's in Iron Man 3, the third part of Iron Man. They have a scene that you can only see in China. And it's 3 Chinese doctors saving the life of Tony Stark, the Iron Man character. 3 Chinese doctors. And we were just joking with Isaki that if they made the film in Catalonia, they could put 3 Catalan doctors saving the life of Tony Stark himself.
And failing.
And failing. Oh no, Iron Man is dead. Let matar.
I want to censor my own films.
That would be a good idea. That would be cool.
Yeah.
You think so?
They would be better. No? You wanted to say that, no?
Before you said you're preparing a film set in Banyolas or about Banyolas. Yeah. What else are you working on at the moment?
Now we're writing a script for a feature film, a co-production between France and Spain. It's a film about present, about Bataclan, the terrorist attack in Bataclan in Paris. Mm-hmm. It's about that.
Okay. You're working with Isa on this project?
Yeah, we're writing with Isa and Fran Araujo, who's also a scriptwriter.
Okay.
You want to shoot in Paris?
Yeah, between Paris and probably Catalonia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You said this film is quite inspired in real facts, right? But in your films, Isaki, you mix a lot reality and fiction. What is good for you about reality and what is good about fiction?
Well, we all have the need of information and the need of fabulation. We like imagination, we like to recreate worlds, and we have both desires all the time. So I like to work in different ways of cinema.
Would you say this is, you know, what you do is kind of it's not mockumentary, but something like that, you know, like Christopher Guest did in the past, you know, like when you mix things and at some point you don't know if that's real or not, and that's, you know, basically the core of the question. And I think it's the best thing about this kind of documentaries, it's when you find yourself thinking, is that true?
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to make with my films, but I have another project that works
looks
on
that way, yes.
Yeah.
The third one, like you have the Paris one, another one, and the third one?
The third one, yeah.
Okay, let's change the subject because we've got a last question for you, Isaki. It's called the question chain, which is a question from last week's guest, which in this case was Osman Umar, author of the book Viaje al País dels Blancs and also president of the NGO Feeding Minds. I don't know if you know who he is, but anyway, we had a chat with him about immigration and Africa as well, and this is what he asked you.
My name is Osman Umar, the founder of the NASCO Feeding Minds organization. My question to you is, if you really think that the solution of migration exists.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good
exactly.
luck with that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it exists as there is a solution about the drugs traffic. I mean, if you finish with the frontiers, it's finished. Yeah. Some years ago, I was shooting in Australia, in the refugee camps. In Australia, which is a country made by immigration, they were creating refugee camps in the most isolated island very close to Asia, in Christmas Island, and it was like a prison, it was like a jail. And a lot of refugees tried to escape from there, and they died in the city. And it has not changed. I remember that at that time I made a film explaining that story, and nobody watched that. So
nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Well.
And a lot of people died there. But frontiers, what to do with that?
Okay, Isaki, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Me
Thank
too.
you, Tony. Until next
Thank
time.
you very much. My
And
pleasure.
we invite all our viewers to go to Santa Monica in Barcelona and see this great exhibition, which is Isaki's latest project. It's called Jo soc allò prohibit, I am the forbidden, and it's running, I think, until January next year.
January the 12th.
Exactly. Well, and we finish here, but we still have lots of things coming up, such as reports, fun, music, games, and tips, like the following book recommendations from the Xarxa, the Bibliotecas Municipals of the Diputació de Barcelona.
In A Far Cry from Kensington, we have a main character, Mrs. Hawkins, who remembers her past days. She has insomnia, and she recalls her past life when she was living in London in the 50s, and she was living in a boarding house and working in publishing. She remembers the relationships she had with many people, especially with one author who seemed to be intruded everywhere in her life. Muriel Spark writing is satirical, intelligent, funny, and I strongly recommend it.
I read Jane Eyre when I was a young man, and I loved the book. And this was because I considered that Jane Eyre was a naive governess who went from rags to riches at the end of the book. Mr. Rochester, meanwhile, was, for me, a poor man whose reward was to get to know Jane Eyre. When I reread the book as a mature man, I discovered that Jane Eyre's story was complete, but that Mr. Rochester's had many gaps and absences. I followed the gaps avidly, and I discovered that his fortune came from exploiting people in the Caribbean, and that he was already married to Bertha upstairs, locked in the attic. Do the fortune of many people in Europe come from the suffering of other people? Read the book and tell me all about it afterwards.
Hi. Just as we don't use the word happy to say that we're happy all the time, we don't have to use the word angry to say that we're angry all the time. For example, we could use the word cross. Emma is really cross with me. Hopefully she gets over it. In the United States, they tend to use the phrase to be mad at someone. Oh, Emma's so mad at me because I forgot her birthday. Here, the preposition at is key, to be mad at someone. But hey, if you're really, really angry, you can use an absolute adjective, like furious. Don't talk to Mark right now, he's furious. So, cross, to be mad at someone, and furious. I hope you don't have to use them too often. See you later.
We continue with cinema, prepared to meet our second multi-awarded director from Banyoles. Albert Serra talks about his latest film, Liberté, so stay tuned.
Welcome back. Marichel from San Cugat and Victor from San Diego, California met online when they were living in the United States but 4,000 kilometers away from each other. They finally got over the difficulties of long-distance relationships, and now, more than 10 years later, they live in Catalonia and encourage people to use dating apps to find their true love.
Hello everybody, my name is Marichel Negra. I'm from San Cugat.
Hi, my name's Vic. I'm from San Diego, California.
And I've been with Victor for almost 11 years.
That's a good one.
We met online. Yeah, we both were coming out of relationships, and we signed on to this online service, and he contacted me, and here we are almost 11 years later.
I did. Well, on these dating sites, someone has to be the initiator, and I was the one, and I was just crossing my fingers hoping she would respond, and she did.
I remember you emailed me, and then I gave him my phone number, and he called me, and I was actually on a business phone call, and I didn't respond. And then you called again, and then we finally made contact. We spent the next 3 months actually talking on the phone, right? Because we didn't really see each other until 3 months after we first met on the phone online, right?
Yes, that's correct. Well, 10 years ago, it was very, very unorthodox. In fact, we kept it a secret. We never told people how we met.
Yeah, but now there's like, okay, whatever. The truth comes out, we met online.
Oh, and we're very, very excited about the way we met. It was a very platonic relationship.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, the menu. A very complete meal, quite inexpensive. You get even wine and dessert. I thought it was fantastic.
I've spent 23 years in the States. I think I've adopted the work ethic of Americans and the sense of being very efficient in doing things. You know, I think that's the main difference between Americans and Catalans, for instance.
I really like the social setting here. The ambiance of going to dine, it's more of a social affair versus in the U.S. It's get it and go. Even during lunch here, it's very traditional, very social. So that's something that I totally embrace.
The Black church tradition of 3 hours, 4 hours church on Sundays, and that's something that they really do. And then I also would not like Sunday football or Monday night football, because they spend hours and hours and hours and hours in front of the TV. It's just the football thing. I'm not ever gonna adopt that. Never.
I'm not a church guy, so it wasn't me.
No.
Customer service. I think it's out here, it's very lacking in customer service, and I don't know if you want to call us spoiled, but we really value customer service in the U.S.
You should know this one.
Oh gosh. All right.
I hate it when he doesn't listen to me. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And he doesn't listen to me well enough. That really makes me really angry sometimes. What do you... No.
Spiders.
No.
You cringe every time you see a spider.
He likes it when we host people, we have people over, and we cook lunch, and friends and family come over. I think he likes that.
That's very good. That's the second very close one, but I said this one. Going on a date with Marichel.
Almost. No way. I think you told me over the phone that you loved me, and then I said, well, I already loved you too, but I think you told me first.
But you told my heart first.
Oh. Boom, 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 boom.
He's a Catalan film director and producer born in Banyoles, and he is considered one of the most original, unconventional, and also fascinating filmmakers of European cinema. He's just presented his new film called Liberté, in his own words, a poem about the night.
Je crois qu'aujourd'hui, ce ne sont plus certains débauchés qui pourront faire la révolution. Mais ce sont bien ces femmes-là, obstinées, dures, et qui connaissent le prix à payer pour que le monde puisse changer.
Elles savent qu'on va venir les prendre. Elles le savent d'un savoir obscur.
Elles attendent parce qu'elles ont envie, parce qu'elles sont prêtes.
Il ne faut pas les décevoir.
Albert Serra, welcome to the Weekly Mag.
Thank you.
It's a great pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you.
So let me ask you first if you agreed with my presentation at the beginning.
Yes, about the poem of the night, about the film.
About yourself.
Well, most unconventional filmmaker, all these things. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I am following just, I'm being faithful to my style, and I try to find new original ideas for every new film. So if sometimes this means unconventional or it means, I don't know, maybe, yes, I am unconventional.
Liberté, your latest film, a historical film like other projects, recent projects of yours, a film quite explicit, sexually speaking. It deals with libertine exiles. It's set in the 18th century. So, basically a film about sex. Why? Is sex so important to you?
Well, I would not say about sex. I would say maybe about desire, and maybe how this desire change when our perception is, it's not the daylight perception, but it's the night. So then I think that we get in, all of us, in a different kind of logic, that it's the logic of the night, that it's, I don't know, totally unproductive, that it's not fertile, that it finishes every night and it starts from zero every new night. No, it's not the logic of, I don't know, development, progressive development of the day. For me, this film deals with this specific way of living in the world and trying to maybe export this logic to the daylight way of living, if it's possible.
Liberté, the title, what does it refer to?
It's maybe the only provocation, because the film is so full of outrageous images that I wanted to say to the people that is going to the cinema, if you don't do this, you are not free. So freedom, it's when you do this.
So it's kind of an ironic title, right?
Yeah, maybe.
You said the film is full of outrageous images. How so?
Well, it's different, strange or a little bit crazy sexual practice, and it shooted in a quite explicit way, and it's still very dark psychologically. It's full of this, but there is always a frustration, there is always a desperation in the characters that they never get to really satisfy their desire. So, I don't know, there is a progressive, dark and very desperate mood inside the film that, I don't know, goes out from the film to the theater a little bit. In a strange process. There was a spectator at the end of one of the screenings that told me, asked me at the Q&A, said, if this film has gave me something, it's to recover the sense of a public screening. It means that all the theater gets full of this insane, a little bit dark, as I said, ambience, and it it really penetrates in a very strange way to the spectator. Usually, you stay there as a passive viewer, but here as it's full of nudity, I didn't know that this will be so important, because since you make a film with nudity, you touch a very intimate part of people.
Yes.
And for this reason, a lot of professional actors, they don't tolerate or they don't want to act with nudity. So it's obvious that you are more vulnerable as an actor in front of the camera since you are nude, and the control you have on your own image, it's weaker.
Okay.
So there is a lot of strange things happening then, very, very subtle and very intimate, and I think that this feeling of vulnerability gets inside the spectator in a very direct way.
In this case, you worked with amateur actors, with non-professional actors. Was it easier to work with them?
Well, it's not. It's a mix of a lot of different kinds of people.
Okay.
There is 2 professional actors. One is even quite well known, very famous old man that worked with Visconti and with very important filmmakers. There is some professional, Helmut Berger.
Okay.
There is some other professional actors that never made cinema, that only theater. There is some technicians, maybe the ones that made the most outrageous scenes. There are 3 technicians that I asked them to act in the film just like this.
Okay.
There is friends of mine from Banyolas, my town. There are people I never met, and I did a casting on Facebook. So totally unknown people I just select because of the intuition that they will be great. And with this heterogeneity, what you get is that they cannot create complicity between them since the very beginning. So they are a little bit isolated because of different backgrounds. So it means that they are in a way abandoned a little bit in front of the camera. And I like this sensation because what it will appear with this abandon, it's something very genuine, very spontaneous, because they don't have the script, they don't know what they are doing.
Before you mentioned strange sexual practices, and I guess you were referring to cruising, right?
Well,
what is it?
Well, no, it's a cruising area, like we can have in nowadays. Nowadays, maybe it's more associated with the gay cruising areas, but I don't know. Here, I imagine. I didn't know if it exists. In this concept, I imagine it didn't exist. But like a cruising area for men, women in the 18th century, and it's about the generosity, of course, of you being in a place and giving your body and giving, not thinking about you, what you desire, what you feel, what are your rights. No, by giving, your body and offering, offering your body to the other people, and to really accept the arbitrary part of desire of others, or even of the arbitrary part of your own desire, that, okay, now goes this way, maybe later goes this other way, and just not to try to control it, or to think about it, or to put the moral side over, or to put, I don't know, your own thinking, or your own ideology, or your own needs. No, just, liberate of all these things and abandon yourself to, some people that is doing the same thing.
Let's talk about the award you got at the Cannes Festival. It was your film, Liberté, it was very well received in Cannes and also in Seville. Right? Yeah. And at Cannes, they gave you this award, which is very important, the special award of the jury and the section Un Certain Regard. Yes. So how important was this recognition for you?
Very important, because Cannes Film Festival is the most important film festival in the world, and there is all the press there, and everybody, especially people in the industry, and especially people that is following art house cinema, they know about it. But
on the other hand, you said sometimes that you don't care about what people think about your films, and that even very few people understand you because why?
Because sometimes I talk as a producer and sometimes I talk as a director, so people don't make the distinction. But when I talk as a producer, okay, prices are important because I am producer and it can help you in the future to finance new films. But as a director, I am focused only, in the aesthetic and artistic goals. So I don't care at all about what people think about my films. I only care about 2 or 3 or 4 people in the world that I really, trust them.
Who are these people?
Sorry?
Who are these people?
Well, film critics mostly, or friends.
Okay.
That they really know, what I am trying to do and what is, my path in contemporary cinema, and they can judge my films properly and even help me to say, okay, this direction or this was interesting, or might be this was not, or this,
you said many times that your films are not mainstream, and you also said that you are the only honest and the only good Catalan film director.
Spanish. I said even to make it bigger, Spanish.
Right. Okay. So how is that? Why do you think that? And why you think honesty is so important to create what you do?
It helps. It's not so important, but it helps a lot in the long term. Because
but why
when
are
you don't have,
like the only?
Well, I don't know. Ask them. It's not my fault.
But who said that?
Myself, because I see that all the other people that started with me, or all the other people that could, match with a little bit with my goals, all abandoned this way, trying to be more commercial, trying to be, more successful, trying to get more money, and all keep on doing worse films. So I am the only one that was only focusing the aesthetic goal without thinking about anything else. And I don't know anybody else. Maybe you can, if you know somebody else, you can introduce it to me and I will say hello. I always think about what will happen in 2 centuries, and every decision, even the slightest, smallest decision in the edit of my films, I never take into account what people will think.
Okay.
So this is a good, nobody else, is really dismissing the opinion of the audience as I do.
All right. So you're kind of a visionary director in this case.
Hopefully, I don't know. This is not me to judge it, but my attitude is the attitude of a visionary. Hopefully, there will be, the elements and the work that will certify this.
Let's talk about this film was based on a play that you did last year.
Yeah,
okay, and then we could also see an installation in Madrid, right?
Yes. It was the beginning of a theater play, and it was premiered in Volksbühne during the Berlinale Film Festival. And there were some people coming from cinema world that came to the premiere and told me, why don't you do it in cinema with your style, with the way you work with actors? You are quite crazy. And, you could really make it more organic, because with theater, people the actors are very far and you have only one perspective. So we said, why don't you do it in your Baroque style with a lot of strange
Baroque
points.
is the word. It's very powerful in images, visually. It's a very powerful film, very Baroque, like you said, like a painting almost.
It was my goal at the beginning, where I was thinking about Fragonard or Boucher, these 18th century French painters, and I wanted to, with a cinematographer, we said we will do a trash Fragonard, That it was the idea that the Baroque aesthetic and the refined, lines in the screen and whatever, it was still there, but full of not beautiful things inside. It will be a frame, but for super trash behaviors and trash details. And yes,
it's a great combination, trash and then Baroque.
Yeah, it was
painters, right?
It was the originality of the point of departure, and I think that we got it, because the film, it's quite, I don't know, when you see the film visually, it's very tiring, because it's full of lines, full of elements, full of leaves, full of trees, and full of different, people looking.
And it's all night, right?
Yes,
all
night.
Night in the woods.
Yes.
Right. Where did you shoot the film, and for how long? How long did it take to shoot
Only
this
3
film?
weeks. All my shootings are more or less 3 weeks. I think it's the perfect length for a shooting, because there is still a lot of intensity with 3 weeks, but it's what I we discussed before. Actors don't get so used, but when they start to get used to know each other, to have complicity, it's at the end of the 3rd week, then the shooting is over. Well, I think it's a quite ideal length for
and
for
where
shooting.
was it? Where did you do
It was shot in Portugal, in Alentejo, that is next to the border with Spain, just because, well, they were Portuguese co-producers, but we were looking for, in September, the warmest place in Portugal or in France, without sound, without modern noises around. So it should be an isolated
for practical
place.
reasons.
Yeah.
What do you expect from your audience? How do you want people to feel when they come out of the cinema after seeing your film? What reactions do you want to provoke in them?
I don't want to provoke any specific reaction. I want them to experience something different from all the other films they have seen, recently or before. I don't know in which direction, I don't care. Because when I do the film, I am not thinking, what to put in the film or how this will affect the people that will watch the film, but just that if they will be affected with intensity. This is the only goal. And if this happens, I am happy.
Tell me, before we leave, because we need to conclude the interview here, tell me about your projects. I know you've got things in the pipeline, so is the film, is it another...
Now, as I did, this quite outrageous film about sex, I said, maybe it's time for love. So my next film will be a melodrama, I think. I have 2 projects. I don't know which one will be first, but probably this one. So this will be a melodrama about a very contemporary subject that is the crossing point between love and interest.
Wow, sounds very common, but coming from you, it's not common.
Well, I hope so. I hope I will be able to find a point of view and new images. That it's one of my main goals, to find new images for also this subject and this genre that it's the melodrama. And well, I think it will be interesting.
Okay, Albert Serra, thank you so much for coming and joining us here today. And good luck with all your projects.
Thank you.
And we recommend you all to go and see Liberté by Albert Serra in cinemas all around Catalonia. And among the many genres of stories, horror tales stand out as gripping and shocking. From Edgar Allan Poe to H.P. Lovecraft, many English writers have become world famous. And if you like them, here come Tim Warry and Helen Armstrong from International House Barcelona to give you a hand with the right vocabulary.
It was a dark night and I was in a creepy street. And the mansion down the road was very scary.
Boring.
What?
You can't use words like this, scary, creepy. They use them all the time. You have to do better than that.
You're probably right, Tim, but telling horror stories isn't really my thing anyway. But speaking of which, I had such a fright the other night.
That means she had a moment of terror. What happened?
Well, so I was marking exams one night alone at school, and it felt very strange and there was an uncanny silence.
That means an unsettling or strange silence.
Yeah. So I got my stuff together and then all of a sudden the lights went out.
Did you try the switches?
Yeah, but they didn't work. So then I ended up in the dark and gloomy corridor.
So dark and gloomy means dark and disturbing.
Yeah, so then I got into the main hall, which was completely deserted, nobody was there. And then my footsteps were echoing. Oh, it was such a grim place.
Grim means unpleasant.
Yeah. So I walked out and at the corner of my eye, I saw this eerie glow coming from under the toilet door.
Eerie means strange and frightening.
Yeah. So there was a faint light and I could hear a hoarse voice. I was quaking in my boots.
That means she was shaking with fear. You didn't go in, right?
I did. I had to. And there was a candle in the sink. And then all of a sudden, I came face to face with the caretaker. I swear, that woman gives me the creeps.
Ooh, it makes her feel really scared and unsettled. Me too.
Yeah. So she was just staring at me, and then all of a sudden, she grabbed my arm. Oh my God. I was aghast.
That means she was terrified.
Yes.
What did you do?
Nothing. I was frozen. My heart was beating so fast. And then in her other hand, she had a toilet roll. And all she said was, "Why do you not change the toilet roll when it's empty?"
Wow, what a fright indeed.
I know.
Wow, you're not so bad at telling scary stories after all.
Thanks, Tim.
Today in our One of Us section, we are meeting Jenny Knight, an English conversation teacher at the Casal de la Gent Gran in Manresa. She teaches a really passionate group of people who enjoy her dynamic classes, and they even go on trips to the UK sometimes.
Hi, my name is Jennifer and I'm from New York and I've been teaching here in the Casal de Gent Gran for about 5 years now. I did my master's to be an English teacher because I wanted to travel a lot, and I started traveling around the world, and then I ended up here. I met some people that lived around here. I got a job in Manresa and I've been here for over 20 years. I've been teaching in an academy, a language academy in Manresa for a long time, and one of the teachers, my co-workers, was working here already giving grammar classes, and they wanted to start conversation classes. So they wanted a native speaker, and I started with a few hours, but the classes grew a lot, and now I have 8 classes here of conversation that I do in the mornings, which is good because the academies you work in the afternoon, and that way it sort of complements my timetable. They do many activities here. I think they have over 2,000 people in the Casal, and they have maybe over 100 classes, because there's just between the languages, there's maybe 30 or more classes alone, and they do yoga and computer classes, many different kinds of activities. The conversation classes usually are people who had studied English at some point and want to refresh, or now they all travel, and they want to practice their English to travel. So usually young people come to English classes, they have insufficient English class at school, usually it's not sufficient for them, so they come more hours after school to come to an academy to do more English, and it's mostly because their parents are sending them, forcing them to go. Whereas people come here, they're super motivated, they have a lot of time and interest and need, because they are traveling, so they see the immediate need. But it's also a lot more difficult for them. So children are more like sponges, and their brains are more flexible, and then when you're, especially the level, we have 3 level classes. In the level 1 class, the people haven't studied a lot of English, and to start learning a language and at that age, it's more complicated. It's for the sound, for the pronunciation, and for the grammar. The students really form families in the classroom. So the ones that are really more cohesive classes, with one class we went to London for a weekend, and this year there's 2 groups. One we're going to be going to Edinburgh, and another one we're going back to the UK, but a different part of the UK. So, yeah, and sometimes we do meet, like have lunches or do some activities outside of the class time.
What did you like about the activity? What was helpful?
What I really like about teaching the people here is, like I said before, their motivation, it really helps, because then you think people are really interested in learning, and they're very open-minded, but they have such great stories to tell, because at this age, they've all had really interesting careers and lifestyles, and many have worked in other countries, had to use their English for their jobs. They have so much to explain, and they know so much. So for conversation class, it's wonderful. When you're teaching kids, you ask them a question, they're just like, oh, I don't know. They don't really have anything to say. But they always have something to say. And they might be more timid or more extrovert, but they have so much to explain.
Many people know about science, history, language, math, but who knows about celebrations? Today on Guess What? We throw a party. Don't you dare to miss it!
Welcome back, and let's continue with Guess What, hosted by our quizmaster trained in LA, California. A showman like no other, Sergi Cervera, of course. Welcome, Sergi.
Yeah, guys. Love you too, Marcella. Yes, you know, I'm passionate about everything I do, so I'm back to test your knowledge, insight, and, well, sheer luck. And today, the topic of our quiz is parties! Yeah!
Wow!
That was tough.
Okay, surprise, surprise.
Yes!
Okay.
Parties. In a celebration, anything goes. Laughter, hilarity, excess, indecency, and lots of gumdrops.
Well, I guess you did a lot of research on that, right?
Well, actually, I've been trying to remember what I've done for the past 24 hours, and it hasn't been easy, so that was my research, yes.
Okay, no comment there. Well, let's say hello to today's guest contestant. His name is Jofre Balles. He's a musical theater actor and singing teacher. Welcome, Jofre. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Do you feel like partying?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, Jofre says he likes escape rooms, jigsaw puzzles, complex strategy games, and traveling. And quizzes, maybe?
I like winning, so I'll tell you at the end of the game.
That's the attitude. That's the right attitude.
Fair enough. And also, we have to say hello, as usual, to our contestants on duty and experts in parties, Patricia Escalona and Mark Broderick. Hello.
How's it going?
And it so just happens that Patricia likes singing, as you all know, and Joffre, you met Mark when he visited your school
He taught me a couple of chords, a couple of, you know.
And it was then, Mark, when you started to get interested in singing, maybe.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah?
Interesting. I moved from singing in the shower to singing in the street. And people just looking at me going, what is that guy doing?
For the end of the show.
I claim no responsibility for that. Exactly,
All right.
exactly.
So, today I'd like to spice things up a bit. So we have established that whoever loses will have to sing a bit at the end. If that's okay with you, Joffre.
It's fine.
Great, because I actually don't care. I'm gonna make you sing by the end of the show, you or you or you.
You're calling him the loser and he hasn't even started.
Or the three of you. Get ready for those.
Trio.
Get ready for those songs.
Okay, not a duet.
Okay, guys, so it's time to begin. So over to you, Sergio.
Great. Let's start with the multiple choice, around which you can win with a bit of insight and, frankly, lots and lots and lots of luck. Yeah, we have asked people in the street anecdotes about parties, and here's what our first volunteer told us.
My story starts in Melbourne. I went to a party alone because I was there alone, and on my way home I didn't know, I had no phone, and then I get them my address and said they should drive me home, please, and I was very afraid.
A German girl in Melbourne, so she gave some Aussies her address and asked them to give her a lift home. So, what happened next? Wait for me, I'm gonna give you the three possible options. Option A, they gave her a ride, but charged her $50, you know, the usual. B, they drove her to another party. Or C, they took her somewhere else and she had to walk. What do you think?
I've been in Australia. That was Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
They definitely drove her to another party. Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Has to be it. Has to be it.
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't want to be prejudiced against Australians, but I have to agree. They definitely took it to anner party. Yeah.
They're half Irish up down
Patricia,
there.
I want to agree with them.
So
I want to agree with them, but I won't.
So that has been your experience with the Aussies as well?
Yes.
Yes. Partying hard.
Yes, they do party hard.
We all love Australians.
No, I'm gonna say they drove her somewhere and she had to walk back.
Okay, where she ended?
They hooked me up somewhere else, not at my place. It was a long way, so I have to walk. Yes.
Which means Patricia won.
It also means they definitely were not Australians that picked her up.
Terrible.
For sure.
Maybe they were the only bad Australians who left her in the lurch.
I mean, she's really unlucky to go to Australia and meet the only unfriendly Australians.
That's really bad luck.
It's really bad luck.
Have you ever been in this situation of being dropped in the middle of nowhere?
Tell the truth.
Oh, God.
Yeah, by the night bus.
Okay.
Falling asleep in the night bus and waking up at the very end of the line, not knowing where you are and having to go, I'm just going to go that way.
That's actually a classic. Was any Australian involved?
No, just me.
Getting in a taxi in any foreign country where they don't speak English well, you're bound to end up somewhere you're not supposed to be. I mean, that's happened to me on many an occasion.
Or just
many an occasion.
in a foreign country where you don't know exactly where you are. Like the first time that ever happened to me was in Edinburgh. And I was 15, I was going out of a party and I didn't know where I was. So I ended up like walking for hours until I found my way back.
So you were 15 years of age at a party in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, let's move on and now let's listen to the adventure of our second witness in another party.
I went to a bar in Barcelona called Cangrejo, and there was a big party. And we were a group of many people. We're trying to find a place to leave our things, like coats, helmets, and all this stuff. And 2 hours later, we went to pick them up. And when I took my helmet...
So, you know, when you leave things in public, things can disappear or appear, right? What did he find in his helmet? I'm gonna give you 3 options.
Was this in
But now you're
Barcelona or
excited.
Madrid?
Huh?
Was this in Barcelona, right?
It was,
You had never
it
been
was
to El Cangrejo?
everywhere. Because
The
could
Cangrejo.
be-
Is it?
You've never been to El Cangrejo?
Amazing place. You really need to.
Oh, God.
I don't know. Maybe we can go out for a party there afterwards. I've
Let's
never
see if
been
you
there.
pick the right
Okay,
answer
go.
without being in El Cangrejo ever before.
never
All
been
right,
there.
option A. There was a rat in his helmet. Could happen.
Yeah.
Option B. Somebody had thrown up inside. Could happen as well. And option C. He found a bag of drugs inside. Could happen as well too.
Yeah.
All 3. I mean, could it be all 3 things?
Could it be all 3?
Yeah, I found
I'm gonna
found
go
a
with
rat
the drugs.
puking
Rings
after
a
doing
bell? It
cocaine
rings a
inside
bell.
of
You're
the
gonna go with drugs.
Yeah.
But related to the...
Shut up.
Okay. Patrice is speaking option C, drugs inside the
The
helmet.
drugs.
Jofre, how do you feel about it? Any rings any bell?
I'm going to go with throw up.
Throw
Sick.
up. Okay.
Puke.
Okay.
And
Great.
because I've never been to Cangrejo, and because just to be different, I'm going to say that he found a rat
He found a rat
inside.
in
Why
his
not?
helmet.
Why not? Just to be
The
different.
3 of
Could be,
them
no,
could
it
be.
could be.
I know.
entirely
They're all
possible.
pretty, you know.
There should be an option
All
D, all
right,
of the above.
then. Que sera, sera. Follow me, Jofre.
Whatever will be,
will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Let's find out.
Somebody had puked inside the helmet. Yeah, it was horrible. And I wasn't living in Barcelona, so I had to put the helmet on, take my motorbike, and go home. You can imagine.
Did he actually clean the helmet out first, or did he just like put it on and all the puke went on his face?
Yeah, man, point goes to Jofre. And you know, in parties, sometimes people feel so open that they want to share their most personal stuff.
Like the last
Well,
one.
I don't know why these stories always have to end up with something gross.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Because
Thank
that was gross.
Let's go over the score, just to remind you. Patrice and Jofre are leading 1 point each, and Mark, I love that part, is behind with 0. Okay, and
Poor Mark.
Exactly. Poor
Thank you,
Mark.
Marcella. A little bit of support
Let's
goes a long way.
finish with the last of our party stories. Pay attention.
We went to a club in Germany with 4 or 5 girls, and in the night we forgot a girl at the parties. We drove home and nobody realized that we lost her in the club.
A
Fantastic.
mystery has just been served. A partygoer in the group goes missing. Where is she?
With better friends.
In the dark room in Bergheim.
Obviously.
I don't know.
Option A, she was dancing by herself. Option B, she had fallen asleep in the toilets. And option C, she had joined a hen party. What do you think?
She was dancing by herself.
She was dancing by herself, like, leave me alone, I'm here having fun, so... Right? Jofre?
I really wanted to be she joined the hen party.
Okay.
Really, so I'm going to go with that.
All right, hen party.
I don't envisage her joining a hen party. It's more of a male thing to do to join the hen party, no? I don't know. Or maybe she, you know,
I would join a hen
I don't know. I
Because
don't know.
you say so.
Because I say so, and because it's very sexist of me to say so. But anyways, I'm gonna go that she fell asleep in the toilet.
Okay.
All
Why
right,
not?
so
I love it when you do
let's-
my work, actually. Like, pointing out what's sexist here is normally my job,
I
but
know.
you did it by yourself.
But I'm learning from
Great.
you. I'm
Point
learning
to
from
you. Exactly. You want to point to pointing your own sexism, and you lost it because of the sexism comment. All right, let's solve the enigma. Check it out.
She fell asleep at the toilet, and the cleaning woman woke her up in like 7 or 8 in the morning.
Of course. Why go and sleep comfortably in your bed if you can have a toilet at hand, right?
I used to go out with a friend of mine, and every single time he would go missing, you would find him asleep in the toilet. And this happened over the space of like 2 years. It was like his thing. They called it doing an Irish. Doing an Irish. Seriously. It's just like, party goes, he's gone,
So
and you would find him in the
Mark,
toilet.
You mean a friend, right? So that's a
He's
story
actually my
related.
best friend. He's actually my best
Let's
friend.
see.
Let's go over the score just to remind you. We have a draw. 1 point, 1 point, and 1 point each. It's
For the
exciting.
moment, for the moment, because now we are going to move on to the second round, which is called the speed challenge, and you'll get 2 points for each correct answer.
Exactly. Remember, if you know the answer, use the object in front of you as fast as you can. Check it out. Joffrey, you have the bell.
Exactly, because
It
you're
works.
our guest.
Exactly. That's right.
You're dead.
Okay.
I'll get them to cut it. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's okay.
Very impulsive.
Okay. It works. Everything okay? Great. That was missing. This round works like this. We'll give you the beginning of a movie title related to a party or celebration, and you will just have to finish it. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yep.
Here we go.
First one, the or the.
Patricia?
Party?
That's
Yes.
right. Point to you. The party. That's right.
Easy peasy.
Here I go. American. Patricia.
Gigolo?
No. Mark.
American Psycho?
No. Joffrey? No.
I don't know.
Time's up.
American Pie. American Pie.
Point goes
American,
to
of course.
no one.
Okay, the hang.
Patricia.
Over.
Over. That's
Yes.
right. Here we go. The Great. Mark.
Gatsby?
Gatsby. That's correct.
Coyote.
Patricia.
Ugly.
That's
Yes.
right. Point to you. Here we go. Death at a Mark.
Funeral.
Funeral. Point to
Yes. Muriel's.
you. Patricia.
Wedding.
Wedding. Here we go. Wedding. Mark.
Crashers.
Crashers.
Yes.
Right.
My big fat Greek.
Mark.
Greek wedding. My big
Yes.
fat Greek wedding.
You
Sorry,
have to be faster,
Joffrey.
Joffrey, get ready.
rubbish.
So
I'm really
exactly,
bad at
I don't
this.
know. Here we go.
Stay close.
Ready? For weddings at Mark.
And a funeral. Sorry.
Thank you so much,
I'm trying, Joffrey, I'm trying.
I'm trying.
My best friends.
Patricia.
Wedding.
Wedding. And here we go. Get it closer. Put your hand. Exactly. Come on, get it closer. Hand closer to the bell. Get ready and Mama. Mark.
Mia.
Mia.
Yes.
Hey, that's right.
Mamma Mia. So
You should have
many
got that
weddings
one. Mamma
here,
Mia.
It's a
Right?
Right?
musical
Right up
and
your
everything.
alley.
I knew half of them. I'm just.
Joffrey, because you are our guest, we have to say that they are professionals.
I know.
Yes,
the
I'm a
bells.
professional hammerer.
He hits the hammer even before knowing the answer.
Yeah.
By the way, do you want to
That's
sing?
the trick.
Are you ready
yeah,
to
I
sing?
know. Yeah,
At least?
Okay, so have you ever seen any of these films? I'm sure you have. And which one is your favorite?
Oh, the Wedding Crashers.
Wedding
Absolutely
Crashers.
brilliant. So funny. And I love when they crash the funeral as well. It's kind of funny.
All right.
I
Joffrey.
go with Death at the Funeral.
Okay.
That's a good one as well, yeah.
I saw it
That's
at the
really
Verdi and I died
Patricia.
Is
laughing.
it the British
Four
one or the
weddings and
American
a
one?
funeral.
British one.
Brilliant
That's
one.
yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Let's go over the score just to remind you guys.
Let's
Mark
not.
is. Let's just not. Exactly. Let's just not. I'm just going to say that Mark is ahead with 13 points and Patricia is a bit behind with 11. Period.
Oh, no.
So let's move forward.
Excellent.
Well, there is only one challenge left, the clue challenge.
But before that, if there's something that shouldn't be missing at a party, that's humor, and now a bit of stand-up comedy with the giggles.
I stopped using tampons because they're too small and I'm kind of a size queen. So now I use a menstrual cup, which if you've never used a menstrual cup before, it's like a little silicone cup. Mine's pink because I'm a girl. And you fold it up and then you say some chants over it in Aramaic and then you shove it inside of you. And it's great because you can collect blood for spells. I believe that menstrual cups are super witchy. It's like, what are you using the blood for other than for spells, obviously? It's also kind of like a culty thing. Like, my friend got me into it 'cause she was like, Hannah, it's so good for the environment. You're going to spend so much less money. You're going to get so in touch with your body. It's like, yeah, I'm fully fingering myself 3 times a day. Every day I use this thing. I've never been more in touch with my body.
That's Hannah Becker. Watch her and all the other stand-up comedians on our website.
All right, time for the clue challenge. 3 points to whoever gets the answer right. You know how it works. Marcella reads the clues one by one, and you answer using your perfectly tuned tool. If there is something...
That was fun.
That was great.
Who wrote that line?
We have a screenwriter, actually. If there is something even bigger than a party, that's a festival. So we are after famous international festivals. Your tools ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so this festival takes place in winter. It is celebrated in some states and towns across the USA, particularly in Louisiana. It's famous for...
Mark.
Mardi Gras?
Yes.
That's correct.
Well done.
That is correct.
Yes,
3 points to you. Mardi Gras or Fat Tuesday. It was started in the American colonies by the French, and it has become New Orleans' most famous festival. All right, just to remind you, Mark is ahead with 16 points and Patricia is behind with 11 points.
And
nice to meet you. What your name was?
I don't know. Is this a game?
Yeah, kind of.
Am I meant to answer?
You have to answer, and if you win,
I'm
we're
meant to
giving you a
answer.
card. No, that's
Sorry.
just... No, I
So I have
get
1
it.
point,
You're a
right?
singer.
I
You're
do
a
have 1
singer,
point.
and you want to sing. I just...
Yeah, but
get
you
it.
still have time. Okay,
Exactly.
so...
Because, why? Because 3 more points at stake. Now we are after another festival.
Okay.
Here we go.
So, here we go. This festival has become international. It takes place in a city in Central Europe. It takes place mainly in September in Spain.
Joffrey!
Is it Oktoberfest?
That is correct!
Well done.
Yes, well done.
Well done.
Sorry. Well done.
Das ist das Oktoberfest. Sehr gut, my friend.
Okay.
I wanted to do it.
Wow.
Okay.
Dreadful German accent.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Yeah. Oktoberfest. Thousands of sausages are eaten and millions of liters of beer are drunk in just 2 weeks. Who cares about cholesterol, right? Certainly not Germans.
So, Joffrey, have you ever visited
Yes,
Oktoberfest?
several times.
In Germany or here? Because
in
you know,
Munich.
here
In
we
Munich.
also have Oktoberfests in
No,
Catalonia.
I've traveled to Munich on 2 or 3 occasions. I can't remember
Wow.
for sure.
You really like it.
Yeah.
You really like it.
I really
then?
like
Probably you were
Oktoberfest.
pouring car.
Yeah.
I bet. Exactly.
That's why he can't remember.
All right. Okay. So 16 points for Mark, 11 for Patricia, and 4 for Joffrey. But yeah,
There we
exactly.
go. See,
That's
there we go.
what you do.
Almost there.
And guys, we have come to the last question of our clue challenge. A special question. The one who gets the right answer will get 5 points. However, if you get it wrong, and think carefully about that, you are gonna lose. We're gonna take 5 points away from you. And of course, we are after the name of another festival. Here we go.
Okay, so this festival celebrates the arrival of spring. It's an ancient religious festival. It's celebrated in many places around the world, though it comes from Asia. The date is on a full moon day at the end of winter. It is a typical Hindi festival, national day in India and Nepal. And it's popularly known as...
Dilawi.
Huh?
Dilawi?
No.
It's not correct.
So it's Diwali.
Diwali.
Diwali, the festival of
Diwali,
colors.
the festival of light.
The
Diwali.
pronunciation is...
Diwali. Diwali.
That is not correct.
Well, maybe they
That's
mean...
not the name we're looking.
Okay, spell it. Can you spell it?
Joffrey?
Diwali.
No.
Diwali.
That's
It's
not
not
correct.
it. So I was
Joffrey?
going to say that it's popularly known as the Festival of Colors.
Yeah, is it Holly?
Holly.
Holly!
Yes,
5 points away from
Joffrey.
Mark, 5 points away from Patricia, and 5 points to Joffrey.
Well done, well done.
Dignity has come to you, my
Well
friend.
done, well done. He did compete with dignity.
Exactly.
Well done,
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Well done, of course, the Holy
Well,
Festival. You will know when it takes place because many people covered in colored dust walk the streets. That's right.
And
Job
they get
well
really
done.
high, apparently.
Okay,
All
so
right.
we've got the final score,
Yes, we've got a winner.
right? 11 points for Mark.
Yeah, you're the winner
congratulations, Mark.
unexpectedly. But
Unexpected winner today.
unexpectedly,
Unexpected
right?
winner
You never
today.
expected that. But
No.
the second and a very dignified position is for Joffrey with 9 points.
Well done.
Well done.
I'm sorry for this, Patricia.
Had to happen sometime.
Some people has been, waiting for that for
A long time. Yeah, fine.
You are the last.
Well, Joffrey, we hope you had a good time today.
I had a wonderful time, thank you.
Yes.
And you know what you promised at the beginning of the show? The person with fewest points will have to sing something.
So Patricia's gonna sing, but we're gonna invite you to sing as well because you are our guest and because we would like to hear your voice.
Yeah, I'm
actually.
happy to sing
And
for you.
We know.
If you're very unhappy to sing.
Sing.
Okay.
Just sing.
So
You
I
start.
thought about singing We Are the Champions, on the
Okay.
smug and arrogant assumption I would win. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do
We
that.
all, Geoffrey, we all are the champions. You can sing that if you want.
No, I'll sing something else. Feels a bit more adequate.
It's okay.
I don't know. Do you like Amy Winehouse? Bruno Mars did a great version of Valerie.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Go
perfect.
for it, man.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water. And I think of all the things what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture. Well, since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Yay! Wow.
Amazing.
Man.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Patricia, you are the official loser, so you can sing as well if you want.
You can say it in a nicer way, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Calling
I
her a
could.
loser and then
Certainly.
asking her to sing is like
Certainly, I could. No, she said you
counterproductive.
could, and I said yes, I could, but I'm not
But I
going to do
won't.
it.
Exactly.
But I won't.
I could, but I won't, right?
Patricia.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. No,
It's
it's
okay.
impossible to follow that.
Yeah, exactly. It's how am I?
That's like
no.
listening to
Okay.
David Bowie singing. It's like, hey, you're next. You're like, no,
I have
you're
to
okay,
say,
you're
okay, she, Marcella is right. I have to say that Patricia is a lovely singer
Okay,
and
ask her.
also a winner, actually.
Ask her nicely.
Okay, Patricia, would you mind please to sing for us? It would be delightful and I would love.
I have no idea what to sing. This is always like, I always throw a blank whenever someone asks me to sing anything. It's like,
It's guess what? Anything could happen.
Anything will do, Patricia.
Queen, something related to
What
Queen.
about Queen?
Queen.
Queen.
We are the champions.
What about Queen?
You can sing
We
We Are.
are the champions, my friend. And you keep on trying till the end. There you go.
Excellent.
Well done.
Well done, well done, well done.
Well done, and I think that's a very nice way to end this quiz, right?
Absolutely.
Geoffrey, a pleasure to have you here today.
Absolutely lovely to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mark and Patricia, thank you as
Thank
well.
you.
And of course, thank you, Sergio. Until next time.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's time to say goodbye for today. Remember that all our episodes are available online, so you can practice your English anytime. We'll be back next week. Until then, you can follow us on the social networks and post there the solution to the guess word puzzle by Mario Serra, which is an order given by a tennis player to his chauffeur. 5 letters. Until then, stay tuned, keep up your English, and have a marvelous week. Bye-bye.